So Tom Ricketts was asked, tell me about Cody Bellinger. Are you ready to pay up? And he was asked about his dealings with Scott Boras. And Tom Ricketts said, I don't talk to Scott. One of his signature moves is to go talk to the owner. I've told you that. You've learned that in this show. When you do that, you undermine the credibility of your GM. NSS, baby. Inserting yourself into that negotiation, I don't think that helps. I don't talk to him. Horse hockey. There is no player who Scott Boras represents who signs with any team where he doesn't speak to the owner and or the team president. It does not exist. Scott Boras will not cut a deal with just a GM or an AGM, heaven forbid. The reason why he wants to speak to owners is he can manipulate owners into saying, hey, one more guy. You got to get this guy. You have no idea the difference you're going to make. I'm going to show you a book that presents the number of season tickets you're going to sell if you sign Cody Bellinger right now for 6 years and $180 million. Trust me. Trust me, as his hand is down your pantalones. Of course, Tom speaks to Scott. But then Ricketts said something interesting. There have been some discussions, but it hasn't become a negotiation yet. Until they are ready to negotiate, there's not much we can do. We just have to wait for when it gets serious before talking about what the end money amounts are. Time out. Let me explain. All right, we're almost at break. It's too long. Let me summarize. Anytime you speak to an agent, you are negotiating. When Scott Boras calls you and says, my guy wants 7 years, 30 a year, $210 million, he's negotiating. What you respond is, that's not an area where we are comfortable. We don't view Cody as a $200 million 7-year player. That was the old Cody. This is the new Cody. That's negotiating. Scott Boras then says, listen, we're not budging. 210 over 7. I don't know what he's asking, but let's just pretend that's what he's asking. I'm not moving. And the Cubs say, great. Call us when you move. Do you think there's no communication that goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks and months? You backdoor it like you're in a movie studio. You're talking to the people who work for Boras. You're talking to players who are friends with Cody. You're having people down the chain in your baseball organization talking to people in various other teams, various other writers. You are working it because if you want a player and you want a player at a number and you're not close, you're finding ways to bridge a gap. You're getting word back to Scott, hey, listen, we'll go all the way to April. We don't care. We'll go to May. We're good. We will never go. Get the message to him. We will never go 210 over 7. We won't go 125 over 5. Let's get back to the table, which is code for let's text again. Let's speak again. And that's code for let's speak at the highest level again. The reason why these players have not signed is that no owners are giving in to Boras yet. And all they got to do is hold on. Hold on, Tom. You've got this. You can do it. Scott Boras is funny. You can tell he's getting a little panicked, and that makes me happy. I like seeing him sweat. I like seeing sort of the Botox wear off, and it gets a little wrinkly. He recently said to ESPN, free agency is about recruiting players. It's the normal owner's signature move to be involved in the efforts of recruiting players and reaching out to me so I can convey to the player the ownership of that team covets them. That's the essence of free agency. Let me just stop you there, Scotty Boras. That's not the essence of free agency. The essence of free agency is that a player has earned the right after 6 years of service time to choose the location of his services. He can choose where he wants to live. But the other essence of free agency, which you fought for as a union and which we granted you after a long and arduous negotiation, is that, like in love, where there's not major transactions involved, it takes two to tango. You cannot force yourself onto somebody. You want to play for the Angels? You can't force the Angels to want you as a free agent. There has to be mutual interest. The way mutual interest is born is when both sides of a deal see value. Both sides. The way players see value is they look around and say, oh, I can't get more than from this team. But really, I'd rather go to that team. What's the most I can get from that team? These are the discussions that take place starting before the season ends, before the free agents are actually free agents. That is what tampering is. You are trying to gauge your market, and you are trying to match the market and your value. When owners, and the signature move, we did it. We had an owner, signature move, calling Jose Reyes at 12:01. Guess what was signature about that move? It involved an overpay. Here's a signature move. An owner got involved with another free agent. How do we get that one? Overpay. When owners get involved with free agents and emotion gets involved, it's an overpay. That's why Scott wants you to believe that's the normal way that an ownership shows love and coveting, like you're some asset. Oh, we can't live without you. There are owners who actually say it, and Scott knows it. There are players where the owner will go to the president and say, David, I cannot live without this player. I don't want to own a team without this player. Shh, don't say that to anybody. We will not have any leverage. Don't worry, I already offered him the world. All right, let's sign it. Maybe he'll fail his physical. I'm slightly concerned that there is going to be a big fight coming at the end of this collective bargaining agreement, which expires 26. The reason I'm concerned, and we have years to talk about this, and Coca has assured me that he has no birthday party for his nephew at 8 a.m. any day soon. Plenty of years to discuss this. But one of my concerns is that if Scott Boras and the players in the union believe that there is a concerted effort to eliminate Scott Boras and his players, or to undervalue Scott Boras and his players, Scott Boras has the power in the union, despite what the union says. Hear me now and listen to me later. The power of Scott Boras and that union is palpable. There is going to be a fight that will make the 99-day lockout from this past collective bargaining agreement look like child's play.